Imagine a 13-year-old kid who turns down Real Madrid. Not once, twice. Most young footballers would kill for that opportunity. Him? He had a plan. A plan so bold that nobody believed in it. Today, that kid has become one of the fastest, most decisive, and most controversial players in world football. His name? Kylian Mbappé. And his story is absolutely insane. Stay until the end, because I'm going to tell you how a child from the Parisian suburbs managed to negotiate with the biggest clubs in the world before even turning 18, how he carried France to a World Cup at just 19 years old, and how his recent decisions have shocked the entire football world. Bondy, a small town in Seine-Saint-Denis in the Paris suburbs. That's where it all begins on December 20th, 1998. Kylian Mbappé is born into a family where football isn't just a hobby, it's a way of life. His father, Wilfried Mbappé, is a football coach. His mother, Faiza Lamari, was a professional handball player. You understand? This kid didn't even have a choice. Sport ran through his veins. But here's what's crazy. From the age of 4, Kylian shows something different. Not just talent. Something obsessive. His father recalls that he slept with a ball, that he would cry if he couldn't train, that he would watch Cristiano Ronaldo matches on repeat, analyzing every single movement. At 6 years old, he joins AS Bondy, the local club coached by his father. And that's when the first signs appear. He's not just good, he dominates. He scores goals by the dozen. The other kids seem to play in slow motion next to him. Scouts start showing up. Chelsea comes to watch him. Real Madrid too. At 11 years old. You heard that right. 11 years old. 2009. Kylian is 11 years old and receives an invitation for a training camp at Clairefontaine, the elite training centre of French football. It's the temple, the place where Thierry Henry, Nicolas Anelka, and so many others were trained. During this camp, something extraordinary happens. Zinedine Zidane, the legend of French football, comes to visit the centre. He observes the youngsters, and his gaze stops on one kid. A kid who dribbles, who runs, who scores with disconcerting ease. Zidane approaches Wilfried Mbappé and tells him something like, "Your son has something special, really special." Coming from Zidane, these words carry weight, enormous weight. From that point on, the big European clubs really start putting on the pressure. Real Madrid offers to bring the whole family to Madrid, with an apartment, a salary for the father, the whole package. Chelsea too, Liverpool, Manchester City. But Wilfried and Faiza make a decision that goes against everything that families of young prodigies do. They say no. No to Real, no to Chelsea, no to easy money and immediate glory. Why? Because they want Kylian to stay in France, to finish his education, to grow up in a stable environment, to become not just a footballer, but a man. It's a decision that will shape his entire career. 2013. Kylian is 14 years old and joins RS Monaco's training centre. Why Monaco and not PSG, the Parisian club that was also courting him? Because Monaco promises him playing time with the professionals more quickly, and Monaco keeps its word. December 2015. Kylian is only 16 years old when he makes his Ligue 1 debut. He becomes the youngest player in Monaco's history. A few months later, he scores his first professional goal. At 17 years and 62 days, he becomes the youngest goal scorer in the club's history. But it's the 2016 to 2017 season that changes everything. Monaco has an insane season. The team is young, hungry, spectacular. And at the heart of this offensive machine, there's Mbappé. Alongside Bernardo Silva, Fabinho, Benjamin Mendy and Radamel Falcao, Kylian tears everything apart. He scores 26 goals in 44 matches. Monaco becomes French champions, eliminates Manchester City and Borussia Dortmund in the Champions League, reaches the semi-finals. And Mbappé? He's 18 years old. 18 years old, and he's terrorizing the best defenses in Europe. All of Europe wants to sign him. Real Madrid comes back with an offer of 180 million euros. It's madness. But Paris Saint-Germain, the club from his city, his region, enters the race. Real quick, if you're enjoying this story so far, smash that like button and subscribe. It really means the world to me and helps this channel grow. Now, back to the story. Summer 2017. PSG has just recruited Neymar for 222 million euros, the most expensive transfer in history. Everyone thinks that's it for the Parisian summer. But no, PSG also wants Mbappé. The problem? Financial fair play. Impossible to spend 400 million in a single summer without breaking the rules. The solution? A loan with a mandatory purchase option. Monaco loans Mbappé to PSG for the season, and the definitive transfer of 180 million euros will be finalized the following year. Smart, borderline legal, but effective. Kylian arrives at PSG with monster pressure. He's joining a team with Neymar, Cavani, Di Maria, world stars. Some say he'll get lost, that he's too young. They were wrong. First season, 21 goals, 16 assists, French champion, best young player in the world. But the real test comes in June 2018, the World Cup in Russia. Didier Deschamps, the French manager, decides to trust this 19-year-old kid. And in the opening match against Australia, Mbappé scores. France wins. Round of 16 against Argentina, the match that will change his life. Mbappé destroys the Argentine defense. He scores 2 goals, he wins a penalty, he runs like a cheetah. Lionel Messi, on the other side, can't do anything. France wins 4-3 in one of the most beautiful matches in World Cup history. Final, France against Croatia. Mbappé scores again. France becomes world champion. Kylian Mbappé, at 19 years old, is a world champion. He becomes the second youngest goalscorer in a World Cup final after Pelé. The parallel with Pelé is not insignificant. Media around the world start saying, it's him, the successor, the new king of football. The years that follow are a succession of records and trophies for Mbappé. French champion again and again with PSG, top scorer in Ligue 1 season after season, stratospheric performances in the Champions League. But there's a problem, a big problem. PSG doesn't win the Champions League. It's the obsession of Qatar, the club's owners. They bought Neymar, Mbappé, Messi later, all to win the C1. 2020, Champions League final against Bayern Munich. PSG loses 1-0. 2021, semi-final against Manchester City. Defeat. 2022, round of 16 against Real Madrid. Paris leads 2-0 in the second leg. Mbappé has been enormous, but Real overturns everything in 17 minutes. Benzema scores a hat-trick. PSG is eliminated. This elimination hurts, really hurts. But a few months later, new World Cup. Qatar 2022. France wants to defend its title. Mbappé is now the team leader. Exceptional run. Mbappé scores 8 goals in the tournament, including a hat-trick in the final against Messi's Argentina. It's the first hat-trick in a World Cup final since 1966. Mbappé equalizes twice, forces extra time, then penalties. but Argentina wins. Messi finally lifts his World Cup. Mbappe, despite the defeat, leaves with the Golden Boot, top scorer of the tournament. At 23 years old, he's already scored 12 goals in World Cups, more than Messi, more than Ronaldo at the same age. Let's talk now about what has obsessed the football world for years, Mbappe and Real Madrid. Since he was little, Kylian has dreamed of playing for Real. His room was covered with posters of Cristiano Ronaldo. He visited the Santiago Bernabeu several times. It's his heart's club. 2022, his contract with PSG is ending. Real Madrid is waiting. Florentino Perez, the Madrid president, is convinced that Mbappe is coming. For free. It's the transfer of the century in preparation. Spanish media already announce his presentation. The jersey with his name is ready. And then, May 2022, press conference at Parc des Princes. Mbappe announces that he's extending with PSG. 3 years, astronomical contract. We're talking about 100 million signing bonus, 50 million annual salary. Insane bonuses. Real Madrid is in shock. The Spanish press is furious. They accuse Mbappe of betrayal, of only thinking about money. But Mbappe defends himself. He talks about a sporting project, staying in France, sporting patriotism. Except that, months go by and things deteriorate at PSG. Tensions with Neymar, tactical disagreements with coaches, frustrating eliminations in the Champions League. And behind the scenes, everyone knows he wants to leave. 2024. This time, it's the right one. After months of negotiations, rumors, tensions, Kylian Mbappé finally announces he's leaving PSG. Destination, Real Madrid. The transfer happens for free, without a fee, but the salary and bonuses remain colossal. June 2024. Presentation at Santiago Bernabeu. 80,000 people in the stadium for a simple presentation, not a match, just to see Mbappe wear the white jersey. It's madness, pure madness. He's realizing his childhood dream. He joins the team of Vinicius Jr., Bellingham, Tchouaméni. Real has just won the Champions League. Everything seems perfect. But reality is more complicated. The start is difficult. He needs to adapt to the system, find his place alongside Vinicius, who plays in the same position, manage the enormous pressure. Some matches are brilliant, others more complicated. Criticism starts to emerge. The Madrid press, so enthusiastic when he arrived, becomes more demanding. So where is Kylian Mbappé today? At only 26 years old, he has already won a World Cup, scored in 2 World Cup finals, won championship titles with 2 different clubs, scored more than 300 goals in his professional career, refused the biggest clubs multiple times before finally joining Real Madrid. It's a career that 99% of footballers will never have, and he's not even halfway through his career. But his story teaches us something crucial. Talent is not enough. Choices matter. Timing matters. Environment matters. Mbappé has made bold decisions. Some have been brilliant, like refusing big clubs at 13 to develop in France. Others have been controversial, like his surprise extension at PSG. Is he the best player in the world? That's debatable. But one thing is certain, he's one of the most fascinating. His story is not over, far from it. The Real Madrid chapter is only beginning, and who knows, maybe one day he'll return to PSG, or try the adventure in the Premier League. What's certain is that we haven't finished hearing about Kylian Mbappé. There you have it. You now know the entire story of Kylian Mbappé, from the kid from Bondy to the Galactico of Real Madrid. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments. Do you think Mbappe will finish his career as the greatest player of all time? See you very soon for another story.